Hello. So we're just sharing together, really, in a very simple way. We're sharing together the possibility that there are two realities. There's what I call the natural reality, which is just boundlessness. But there's nothing much to talk about with the boundless natural reality because it's a mystery. It can't be known. It can't be described. And then there's what I call the separate reality, which is the reality that arises and is experienced by the individual. So when a child is born, in the first year or so, the brain sophisticates enough to create or abstract a sense of identity in the human form. It's uniquely human. And that formation of the sense of individuality is brought about through self-awareness, self-consciousness. Suddenly in that first year or so, there's a sudden feeling of being someone. It's like an energy that is boundless and then it contracts in the body and there's suddenly a sense of being, of an energy here which the child would feel or be aware of. And as it grows, it will call itself a person. That energy is the idea, the sense of there being a person. I am a real individual, I am. And this is the world in which I experience. And I experience that world as something that is happening to me. So in a way, I am here, and the world is out there separately to me, and it's happening to me. And so the child grows up and meets a lot of other apparent individuals who are in that separate reality. It's a dreamt separate reality, very powerful sense of being someone, and it's seen in the world as normal. It's normal, but there are individuals in the world. And those individuals have free will and choice, and they live in a story. They believe that story is real. They believe they are real. I am real. They were born and will live and will die, and that journey, that story has meaning and purpose. That's what the individual experiences. And as it grows and lives in that world, so it manages to learn how to deal with the world that it lives in. So it creates all sorts of ways of presenting itself in the world. But the problem, the difficulty is that sense of separation is actually deeply dissatisfying. Most people wouldn't recognise that and wouldn't admit that, but underneath what they present in the world, there's a sense of something being lost. And some people, they feel that loss more, they're aware of it, and so they try to do something about it. They want to become, they feel unfulfilled really in a way, and they want to become fulfilled. So they then become what we would call seekers. Actually, everybody that is separate is a seeker. People seek comfort for being separate in all sorts of ways: money, politics, power, victimhood, everything. Is brought about to try and overcome or distract the individual from a sense of loss, a deep sense of loss. But the seeker will try and fill that sense of loss with a something. It will look for in Christianity, Buddhism, religion, psychotherapy, whatever you like, in order to try and find what it thinks it can find as a thing called fulfillment. But it still lives in a separate dualistic world, so it experiences itself as the subject and the world as the object. So it's a subject-object experience. It's a polarized experience, split experience. So then, when it wants to seek, then makes what it's seeking for also an object. I can find something called fulfillment, let's say. In order to find it, I've grown up in a world where power and knowledge is power. So I've been to school and I'm now at work and I've learned. But in order to get anything, I have to learn how to get it in some way or other. So what I need to do to find fulfillment is to find a teacher or a process or a movement or something that will help me find what I look for. And if it's not in religion, then these days there's a wealth of other apparent teachers who are promising the student that they will find what they're looking for, in simple terms. And so they go off into that process. But of course, they're working from a dualistic experience. They live in dualism. They are dualism. The self is dualism. It doesn't enter something called dualism. It is dualistic. And so they try to learn through a process that they can use to find something that they think is called fulfillment. And what we're sharing today is the possibility that the whole construct of individuality and the whole idea of finding fulfillment is completely illusory and utterly futile. Utterly futile. Because what is really longed for is not dualism, it's not a thing, it's not an object. What is really longed for is unknowable. What is really longed for can't be found, it can't be obtained, it can't be taught. So that will unravel as we go on talking together. And in a sense, the individual grows up with belief systems. I am a real person. This is the real world. Knowledge is power. And if I work hard, I'll succeed and be happy. And what may arise is that some way those firm belief systems could unravel. That's really, it's a possibility, but more than anything else, this is about something energetic. The actual contracted sense of being an individual is like a boundless energy which is utterly free, and because it's utterly free, it can also arise as a limited, contracted sense of individuality that brings about this separation. It's possible that in some or other, when that contracted energy meets that boundless energy, somewhere it can expand or even drop away completely. But there isn't anything or anyone that can bring that about. It isn't brought about through any circumstance of any kind. Even in a meeting like this, it may or may not happen. Or it may be something that later on seems to arise. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
You just talked about contraction of the body in this identity feeling of being a me. Do you think that a kind of body work that opens up, that gives kind of relief to that contraction, could help this to this collapse?
No, the other paradox about this is there is nothing that helps, because what is longed for already is. This is what is longed for. And in what is longed for, it's something that feels that this isn't what is longed for, and they have to do something about finding what is longed for. It's a complete fallacy, the whole idea that there is something, or there is a process that will help this this discovery. It's not a discovery. Actually, there's no such thing as liberation.
So
there's no such thing actually as contracted energy and boundless energy. They're just words that are used to suggest something. So
when the me feels the contraction, the only possibility is to see, okay, contraction. This is
the only possibility
is to not to accept, to realize this is contraction.
No, there's no possibility. The situation for the apparent individual is utterly and completely and wonderfully hopeless. Really, it's utterly hopeless. It's utterly hopeless. Because it's energialistic energy which it can't let go of. It can't let go of, because somewhere there's a sense that if it lets go, although it can't, it will die. So this message, as far as the individual is concerned, is the worst message it can hear. It immediately rejects it because it doesn't want to die. It wants to hear that there's something that will happen that will bring it, the individual, enlightenment. It wants to be enlightened, but only on its own terms. It wants to be enlightened for its own sake. I want to be enlightened. The me wants to have enlightenment, and that's just. So nothing helps, there is nothing to help, because nothing happens. There's no such thing as liberation. There's no such thing as seeking or attraction. They are appearances out of nothing. So this is empty fullness, not emptiness that becomes fullness. This is empty fullness. And a whole sense that there's something else that the seeker can do to find that is utterly forlorn.
In a way, it makes me sad and happy too.
Yeah, it's awful. It's wonderful and awful.
Fucking message. It's a fucking good message.
My question is, so I assume at one point you didn't come with this knowledge into this world. At one point you realized this concept or acquired this.
Well, no, wait a minute, where are we now? Are we with somebody who is no longer for?
No, my
this isn't a knowledge. This is what's being communicated here. This is a knowledge.
Okay, but you as a non-person.
Yeah, okay.
Did you feel differently when you understood the subject you are?
Okay, so I didn't understand it. It wasn't a question of me understanding it. Otherwise I could write a book and everybody would understand it. It's actually energetic. So the Tony Parsons that was there, the seeker died.
Say again, sorry.
The Tony Parsons that was the seeker, the individual who lived in the dream of being an individual, died. Apparently died.
Okay.
It was recognised directly, it apparently died, but it was never there anyway to die. So we took it out of paradox.
Yeah.
And none of this came through understanding. That death didn't apparently happen through apparent understanding. It just was something that apparently happened. Except that it was then recognised by no one that there wasn't a Tony Parsons to die. That's what I'm trying to say here. This isn't about you dying, because actually the idea of you is illusory. Thereafter, this is happening to a lot of people now, and they aren't necessarily communicators. They just still drive buses or go and sell sausages. But there are some people, they start to communicate this to other people. But it isn't a communication that's to do with understanding or held knowledge. It is simply that there is no longer any sense of individuality. There is simply only what is. And the communication comes out of what is, comes out of nothing. It's not a communication that comes out of something that's learned. So the response that's coming out here isn't coming out from anyone or any library of knowledge or anything. It's coming out of nothing. It's completely and utterly spontaneous. Now, I'm not sure whether that's where the question comes from.
Oh.
Well, in a way you said something about me having this happen, had a knowing or something.
Well, it was more about the point of change.
Oh.
The before and after, but then you said that Tony Parsons, as something died, and
yeah, in a way the changes that previously there was an apparent Tony Parsons, afterwards there's nothing and everything.
Yes.
But there's no one anywhere in a localized position that is that. There just is nothing and everything, and that's a paradox.
I know, I have to think
this
about
is the difficult.
even though it will make a change.
As we go on talking, it will, maybe that will become more, that paradox will become more clear, maybe, I don't know. But it still is a paradox. So essentially, this communication comes out of unknowing, which is not what me is used to. Me doesn't comprehend how a communication can come out of unknowing. That's what's happening. In fact, this room comes out, is unknowing taking form. This is empty fullness. And what we're describing today is the way in which emptiness takes form, or seems to take form. So this room is emptiness in this form. These bodies are emptiness in this form. And that whole of spiritual seeking and the confusion that arises out of that is also empty fullness. So seeking, separation, all those things are emptiness in that form. Everything is only empty. That's why in the natural reality there is no right or wrong. There is no better or worse. So in the separate reality there's dualism. But the person living in the separate reality is living in polarity all the time. There's a right and a wrong, a better and a worse, an inner and an outer. When that collapses, that illusion, there's nothing. There aren't two. There's not two.
So feelings are illusions.
Sorry?
So feelings are illusions.
No, feelings are what they are. All there is what is. And a feeling is what is. This floor is what is. This voice is what is. Feelings are what is. Thoughts are what is. They arise. But if a feeling or thought arises for a me, so the me thinks that the feeling or the thought is real. I am real, so my thoughts are real and my emotions are real. This floor is real. That's the world that the individual experiences. It's a dualistic world. And that's why it's deeply frustrating in the end, because actually the whole sense that there is something that's real, that's apart from me, that I'm separate from, is very dissatisfying. We long, we feel we've lost something. In a sort of way, me has lost something. It's lost wholeness, or it apparently has. And it longs to be whole again. It longs for oneness. It can't find it because it can only exist in two-ness. That's the way it seems to perform.
So it seems dualistic, but it is not.
Sorry?
It seems to
Yeah, it seems to be weird, dualistic.
but it is
There's
not.
only wholeness. This is wholeness.
Yes. So
This is oneness, but it can also appear to be two-ness.
yeah. But everything is spontaneous.
Sorry?
Every word what is saying
Yeah.
right now is also spontaneous
Totally.
in the emptiness.
I will make everything new.
Huh?
I will make everything new.
You? Oh, you?
Yeah, new. So
Okay.
words, what being said is comes out of nothing. It's completely new. Whereas the individual lives in an apparently known world that it thinks it knows.
Yeah.
That's why it's dissatisfying.
Uh-huh. And so when everything is new, is there no tiredness?
Is there no
Is there less tiredness in liberation?
less?
So people can be tired and,
Tired, yeah, but
boring, bored.
yeah, me wears you out. Being me is very, very tiring.
Yes.
People die of beingness.
Yeah.
Because when you go into the world, you try to learn how to make your world work, and you're always relating to people and trying to make them love you or whatever it is, and it's really hard work. Relationships are really hard work. Have you discovered that? The whole thing is hard work, but when that collapses, of course, there's nobody there any longer trying to make it happen. It's just what there is. So there's a huge release of energy and a huge relaxation in the body.
And kind of freshness in being.
Yeah, freshness. In loveness. It's in loveness, but there's nobody in love. It's all new. It's all, look, there's the floor. This is the floor. Well, you say that to an individual who they know, oh, it's a floor. I know the floor. I've seen it before. It's boring, you know. It isn't this. It's totally alive. Everything is totally alive.
So in liberation you will not do
No. Well, you're not in relationship anymore. Don't forget, after the collapse of the individual, there is no relationship. You don't relate to anybody because there isn't anybody out there. This doesn't see anyone sitting here. There's no one here. No individuals here. There are bodies sitting here, and a body might put its hand up and say, I'm an individual. And then there might be a communication. There might or might not be. But there's no recognition here that there's anybody sitting in this room. How can there be? It's an illusion. So there's nothing here to relate. Well, that tries to relate. There's no self-consciousness here because there's no self here. There's no idea that this has to please anybody because there isn't anybody to please. So there's nothing here for sale at all.
That's why I'm here. So everything I say is also spontaneous.
Yes, although it can come from through a filter of the self. Because of course the self, there is no self, but the self thinks it does things. In fact, it thinks it is the doer. You know? So when it thinks of a question, it thinks it's its question. Actually, it's a question coming out of emptiness. So in that way, it is spontaneous. But for the individual, it feels as though I own this question, I'm now going to raise this question, it's my question.
There is no difference between your energy and your energy.
I don't have an energy for this. This is all.
Yeah. So everything you do is a kind of reinforcing the me. Everything you do,
the me reinforces itself
all the day through, every moment.
Pretty well, although there are times when it doesn't. There are glimpses when there's no sense of me, but
and then
invariably it's reinforcing its sense of me.
All it
has to survive.
Okay, yeah.
Or it thinks it does.
And it cannot stop, it's reinforcing.
That's its energy, to be separate. It can only exist in separation, because that's its essence. The other way that that essence is maintained is through awareness. When me takes form, also what comes with that is self-awareness, and that awareness is then applied to everything that's happening to it. I'm aware of sitting on the seat. I'm aware of the wall. I'm aware of breathing. I'm aware of feelings. So the awareness, the energy of awareness is the energy of separation. It keeps. I am sitting on the seat means that I am here and I'm aware of something happening called sitting on the seat. So I'm separate from what's happening. I'm separate from what is.
And being aware of the one who is aware is also...
Well, that's the same thing, yeah. It's all, there are apparently self-inquiry teachers who talk about awareness of awareness. You know. Well, that obviously can't add up, because they talk about the non-dualism of awareness. But awareness of awareness is one, awareness, two, awareness.
Okay.
One, when I went to school makes two, so it's dualistic. But there are other very high-brow people who teach this all sort of awareness and of awareness. So you can be aware of aware and not aware. And there are even people who go to 6 awarenesses. The mind loves complication, it loves that complexity.
It really, for this apparent me, it's really hard. Last year I discovered meditation and I saw it was a relief for this apparent me to see, I'm not identified anymore with what I'm doing. I can see that I'm awareness, and now you're telling me, fuck off, this is...
It's a game, it's called detachment. It's a very attractive game.
It's so hard.
Very, very connected with detachment, which is very attractive to be in. But unfortunately, it usually only lasts about 5 minutes. And then you come back, and then the detachment comes there. But detachment is simply another state.
Detachment, it means attachment. Detachment. And it means another state?
No, it is a state. It's a transient state, like everything else. Like excitement is an experience, detachment is an experience, being bored is an experience, being anticipated. It's all, the individual lives in a wheel of experiences. There's always something new happening. So when it comes to detachment, this is wonderful, now I'm free, because I can look down on the world and be detached, and then later on a blonde walks into the room. It's the end of detachment. Doesn't have to be blonde.
You always step. But there is nothing to do. There is nothing to do.
There is no one, which is even worse.
So all that's happening, like meditation for somebody, he's not doing it. Meditation is happening. That's what's happening.
Well, there's only what appears to be happening. But for the individual believes that they can bring about a state of meditation through choice.
But there is nothing to choose, nothing to do.
No,
it's just what happens.
But tell the individual that.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
I know, but we'll tell the individual that. The individual feels sure that their choice is real, so they can make a choice to meditate or not.
So we were in a hotel room and there was standing on the wall kind of words from, if you don't do anything, nothing will happen ever. If you don't do it, then...
But the individual, there isn't anyone that can do anything or do nothing. If you know, people say to me, oh, I should do nothing. So then they're not doing anything.
If there is no choice.
No choice.
And no action, so to speak.
No. There's what seems to be happening, which you could call action. It's only an appearance.
But are you then just a spectator?
No, not at all. No. There's no spectator. There's no witnessing or observation or awareness of what's happening. All there is what seems to be happening.
But you still are seeing and feeling and hearing and...
Well, seeing happens, but nobody sees. Seeing, the eyes function mechanically, but there's no one that sees anything. There only is what is and is not. You can't, there's no way that the self to me can imagine how this could be. It's completely rejected by the me that there would be no seeing or no observer, no witness, no watching, no. How could that be? Well, sorry.
It sounds like a relationship.
I know.
The one not understanding the other. Okay.
It's a total and utter mystery for the individual. Of course, when there isn't an individual, it's not a mystery anymore because there's no one to be mystified. There is only what is. Why would there be a mystery? It's obvious. The problem with this message is it's so utterly simple and obvious that the me can't ever comprehend it. How could the world be there without it being known? Actually, there isn't a world, of course. There's nothing that's real, but there isn't a world. There isn't a flaw as a real thing. There isn't a real world. There isn't a real flaw. The flaw is emptiness flowing.
But it appears so...
Well, it appears, but to no one. It makes an appearance, but it's still emptiness appearing to be a flaw.
So what about the concept of truth then?
Oh no, there's no truth. No. Except in the dream story. Me, in the world of me, there's truth and lies and all those polarities. There is no truth. There is only what is and is not. And that's the absolute truth. No. is it. Yeah. This is already it. Why would anything need to be done or seen when this is already it? This.
Could we say that in the end, everything what is just perception?
No, not at all, no. It's not perception, it just is what it is. It needs no perceiver for it to be what it is.
But here's somebody who's perceiving, or there's also...
I know, the me lives in the world thinking that it sees and is aware of. That's a dream.
But the things are existing because this apparently...
It's such an amazing, wonderful arrogance. I mean, I come across it many times, especially in the world of total Christ. Everything is because I am. It's amazing. There's even a teacher that tells his students that God can only see through that body. He can only see that through that body. It doesn't know that, but it needs it through that awareness. It's an amazing idea. It's completely nonsensical. It's very clever, because for every student they feel now that they are a funnel for God. Here you are, God. This is what I see. You can have it. It's incredible. But the idea that anything can be without a knowledge or an awareness of it is completely foreign to me. Can't. Just can't do it.
But how can you be sure?
Oh no, I don't know.
But there is nobody.
No, there's nothing that's sure. This doesn't come from any sort of ceremony. This is coming out of nothing. Nothing is describing how it takes form. But that description of how it takes form comes from no knowledge at all. There's no certainty at all. If there was a certainty about this, there would be somebody with a fixed idea about it that would be teaching you this is the truth or whatever. The other thing about this is that there's no agenda to what's being communicated here. So there's no idea that anything else could, anyone else or anything else could recognise what's being said. In fact, it's fairly clear that it wouldn't be comprehended at all by the me. The me can't comprehend it.
If this energetic shift is happened, does it matter how long the shift takes on us?
No, it doesn't take time. It just is. If there is separation or apparent separation, then there isn't. It's not in time. It's timeless.
It's timeless. And if the nobody who experienced that, because it's gone then?
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how long it lasts.
Nothing matters. The whole of this appearance is completely without any purpose or meaning at all, except for the me. The me thinks it's in a story which must have profound meaning and importance and purpose. That's a dream. There is no meaning, there is no purpose. Because of course, finally, there's actually nothing happening. There's nothing happening. This is nothing. Apparently happening. For no reason at all.
What about the Kundalini energy?
Well, that's just another. Kundalini energy is like the soul, or
it's just an idea.
It's just an idea in religion. The me has to have some idea that there's something that it can do, like raising Kundalini or healing its karma and all that. It's all wonderfully divine bullshit.
It's something energetic, arises by itself without any preparation and any
That's what's
willing.
Yeah.
What is that?
No, that's what this is. But some people like to call that Kundalini, and they think there are people who teach how to raise your Kundalini. They also teach you how to raise your bank account.
But it just happens by itself.
Well, everything happens by itself, but only apparently, and it has no meaning or value of any kind at all. It has no meaning or value of any kind at all, because there aren't any circumstances, because nothing's happening.
That's nice.
Oh, it is. Wow!
It's very nice, it has no meaning.
Yeah, but it can be awful too.
Yes. But there's no meaning. Awfulness, yes.
Have you been trying to raise your Kundalini?
No.
Did you bring it with you in your handbag?
But once I visited the teacher in India, because I was curious. Something happened to me many, many years ago, and it was very astonishing. I never seeked that. I didn't even know the name of that, but it just appeared and disappeared.
It does. Yeah.
But the me was curious, and I read Kundalini teacher and I went there, and I tried it out, and I left because it was nothing.
There isn't anything.
You can buy, in India, you can buy a Kundalini meter at the pharmacy.
Oh, really? Really?
Right next to the thermometer.
Yeah.
Where do you stick it?
Up your arse. Sorry, did you say where did you put it?
At least it's fun then.
So in a way, this whole thing seems just to be entertainment, or
Yeah, but not entertainment for anyone.
Not for anyone, but just a game. Something is happening and it's disappearing, and other things are happening, and it's just you can see it or you cannot see it. It's
Well, nobody really in the end sees it, but
yeah.
it's just play.
It plays, yeah. It's a play. It's a game. Or no, it's a game for nobody, but it's.
Take a risk. It seems to be utterly futile.
Oh, is somebody talking?
Yeah, I'm trying to say something. To say it's a game is not possible because it's a mystery.
It's not really a game because it just is what it is.
It's a mystery, and it's not possible to define it in a way like this or that. So it slips back into this silence.
Sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
It slips back into the silence of the sound. Thanks.
Could it be that God was bored by himself and?
Sorry?
Could it be that God was bored by himself and because he was totally alone? And then
Well, God is a comedian with an audience that never laughs.
That's horrible.
say, there's a lot happening. A lot is happening, also lots of emotions, even tears, and then...
You're talking about what's going on there, or...
I have no idea what's going on there. I have no idea. The mind gets some, seems to understand some concepts, and it's juicy, it's great, all these answers, dig it very much, and then emotions, but I have no idea, can't bring anything together or see anything anymore, I can't understand.
That sounds great. It's just like that, there isn't anything that can be got hold of. It's utter chaos.
Yes, cannot get hold of anything.
It's utter chaos.
It's desperation at the same time, it's like, wow. Shall I say thank you?
Thank you for chaos.
Chaos, yeah, chaos. Love.
For me it's very difficult. Hello? For me it's very difficult to exist in emptiness.
You can't, no, it's difficult, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
Impossible for the me. The me is in something called the story of me, so that's the way it exists.
It can't be an empty story.
Well, it can't be if there's emptiness, then there's no me. That's what this is about. It's the death of me. The apparent death of me, although there is no me to die, it's the apparent death of me, and all that's left is emptiness. Just emptiness.
Okay.
There's nothing.
No.
And everything. The everything isn't the nothing becoming the everything is the nothing. The fullness is the emptiness. This is the relative is the absolute. There aren't two. It's only the me that divides everything into two and defines everything in that way.
So everything and nothing cannot be separated.
Sorry?
Everything and nothing, or nothing and everything cannot be separated. They're all...
There is no separation, but in the whole there appears to be separation.
Hello.
That's right.
And is emptiness transparent?
Well, emptiness can't be described.
No.
It's unknowable. Emptiness is unknowing. It's unknown.
You never give it. You say beloved. That's
that's my little sideline.
Yes. And innocence.
Well, those are words that they begin to, don't you get into words, you then think you're describing a something, but in a way you could say what we're trying to remember, or what we're trying to remember is innocence.
Yeah.
The innocent wonder of what is, but not for anyone, just that.
Yeah.
That's why because there could be a resonance, like the me will fight this and question it and try to devalue it. But what can also go on is energetically there can be a resonance with it. Because actually this is all there is anyway. You say you can't imagine what emptiness is, but actually you are emptiness. There is only, this is emptiness. So you're already in it. What the me does is go back into dividing that emptiness into me and you. To safeguard itself. To save itself. It has to survive. And the only way it can survive is through making everything separate. We can't know what is, because what is can't be known. You can only know what will be, it thinks. What will be later on. Next. What's next? What's next?
Is this also a kind of concept or belief that the me wants to survive? So the me wants to survive, is it also a concept or a kind of belief?
For the individual, it's an energy of survival. So the individual will go on establishing its separation. They can't help but do that. That's the only way it can survive.
But if it's not really existent,
well, it doesn't know that. As far as the individual is concerned, I am absolutely, I am real. I am. I mean, there are teachers that teach people to be in the I am state. The I am state is what most people are in anyway. It's amazing aware that I am aware I am. I am. So I am real. And that's the only way I can survive.
Being here is so doubtless that there's nothing.
But the individual believes there is something called me. I am something. I am.
But being here in this situation, this surrounding, it's very clear that there's nothing, there's nobody.
It can be clear and not. I mean, there are two things that can go on here. One is that there's a sort of letting go of the feeling of I am real. But nobody does that. It is something that can have power.
It's like
the other thing that goes on here is a reinforcement of me, because me feels threatened by this message, so it goes on reinforcing.
It's like sinking into a nobodiness, or I can't describe it.
No.
So is it something like it's contagious, or I don't know?
It is, yeah, it is catching. People die out it. I do. It's like flu. This is enlightenment flu.
Little. But there's really nothing happening now.
No.
So the resonance has no voice. Has no voice or no feeling.
No.
Because
there isn't
sometimes
anyone that resonates. It just is.
There is. But sometimes it feels like happiness or very relief to sit here.
Well, for me, would like that. It to be like that.
Okay.
Oh, me, you think, resonance. There is hope.
Okay.
It'll be good because there's resonance.
Okay. But to sit here, there's resonation. When the being sits here.
There isn't resonance there, there's just resonance.
Okay, there is there. It's a different. is it possible that the me wants to die?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, people do say I'm longing to die, or I long for this, I want to die, but they don't really. They would rather stay or stick around and let it happen to them. I want to be enlightened, but on my terms.
Or I want to die at my turn.
Yeah, I want to die, as long as it's nice and rosy and beautiful on the other side. It's a monster, me's a bit of a monster.
And that's why. So when the me is here, then it feels like that there is not so much me.
Yeah.
But when I'm home, at home or go away, then the me comes back. So when the me is here, there's a kind of energy that's...
Possibly you're talking about what seems to be happening there.
So yeah. So what is compassion?
Well, it's not what the me would think of as compassion. Compassion, I think, for the me is helping old ladies over the road or things like that. But the only thing I could say about compassion is the only compassion there is, if you want to call it compassion, is that which destroys the illusion that imprisons people.
So that's a completely different compassion.
No, really, in a way. It's a destroyer.
Yeah.
The compassion is a destroyer.
Having to eat, to drink, pain.
Sorry?
What about having to eat and to drink and to
Well, that
pay
just
rent?
happens. So this is...
Oh, I wish it would. Just paying rent, for example.
Yeah, I will pay rent. But eating or drinking happens. There isn't anybody that doesn't.
And what about other obligations?
There aren't any.
There aren't any, but if I wouldn't...
They can appear to be, and they would be fulfilled or they wouldn't be fulfilled. So what?
But surely if I don't pay my rent, I'm going to get evicted.
Well, you never have paid your rent.
Oh, I see.
That's
really difficult.
Paying your rent has happened to that. See, I pay rent. You don't pay rent. You don't do anything. There isn't anything you've ever done. There isn't anything you've ever done. There isn't anything you've ever done. That's stunning.
But why am I tired then?
Well, because you think you're doing it.
So I'm just thinking too much.
You wear yourself out in a dream world where you think you have to do things. And not only that, you think you are doing them. You believe that you are the doer. That's very tiring.
That's very valuable, actually. Thank you.
Very valuable. For you it is, yes.
For me,
but if you want to stay in that dream and go on paying the rent, then that's what will happen.
No, I mean the information given is valuable.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
I think they're paying the rent.
So it sometimes looks like the other way around, like this message, some kind of message is very freeing. It brings relaxation also. And then when in a hotel it's written on the wall, if you don't go after what you want, you will never get it. And then I think it's really horror.
Who wrote that on the wall?
Some lunatic. But still, it really frightens me to read that.
Yeah.
So me cannot do anything else than...
It finds you because it's a lie, of course.
It's really a lie.
It's one of the big lies.
And still me thinks it's true.
Totally.
So shouldn't I still... Yes.
No question. And you can go to schools now and learn how to change your belief systems. And there's something called The Secret in America where you are taught how to change. It's called, and sometimes it works for up to 5 minutes actually. And then it doesn't anymore. It's a house.
So me can see somehow it's trapped in a lie and still cannot...
Well, me is a lie in that sense. That sounds a bit judgmental. It is in a dream world which it supports and goes on reinforcing constantly. Yeah, the whole thing is a bad thing. But what's wonderful about that is that it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Except for the individual. The individual thinks it's all very important. We have to save the world. We've come on the earth and made a real mess of it. So we think we have. We haven't actually. That's what's happened. And now we have to save the world. So this is amazing arrogance that he has. To think he can do anything.
So one thing, you never did, you just said to her, you never did anything.
Pay the rent, no.
You never, and you never will do.
Sorry?
And you never will do. You never will pay.
No, you'll never pay the rent. You never did anything right or wrong. That's amazing. Really. No, because we go up, we're so guilty, or me, so, directly it seems to have lost paradise. It feels a low self-esteem about it, and then it goes up in that world, cause and effect, and believes in some or other it's bringing about its own, the karma and bad, and I've done this and that was wrong, and I treated that person badly. Nobody's ever done it. There isn't anyone. There isn't anyone that does anything that hurts anyone, and there isn't anybody to be hurt either.
It feels like saying something right now here, maybe stupid, that it's more energetical.
Yeah.
When I say something, then it's like, it's more, it's more an energetical thing. Where is it? Where is it?
Rather than being just
Yeah.
It's coffee time, man.